Hello and welcome to the newest episode of Freedom Entrepreneurship, where we are answering one question. How can we have both growth and freedom? And today I have two wonderful guests, and I literally wanted to have them on my show over months in a row because we spent a beautiful time a couple of months ago here in Sardinia. And I know they have an incredible story. And for me personally, the couple I'm going to introduce you in a moment is really living freedom entrepreneurship. So, with no further words, please welcome to Ivan and Mariana Polich. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Stefan. Appreciate the warm welcome, and we definitely enjoy Sardinia very much. And we definitely have a long journey on this path of building a business and creating a life that we can really enjoy.
Wonderful. Yeah. Mariana,
Absolutely.
a little bit about yourself.
Yes, it's been a long journey. We started off, inheriting a business that was very centralized, and from the beginning, we knew that in order for to achieve any kind of freedom for us, but also for our employees to grow, excuse me, we knew that we have to do it differently, and we set out on that journey, and eventually we made it after selling the business, and now being able to work from whatever we want to, kind of like you. We were just talking about that earlier, how you organized your life as well to live in a beautiful surroundings, and being inspired every single day so you can provide better service for your clients.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, where are you originally from, and where did you build your companies? That our audience has a little bit background information that you did not have the straightforward and easy path.
Which we're usually together when we're doing these interviews, so it's like, we are originally from Serbia, former Yugoslavia. Actually, both of us were born there, and we were able to build a business in United States, in California, which was not an easy feat, as you know. It's any kind of business in it takes a dream, but also takes hard work.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we were literally neighbors, with me coming from Austria and ex-Yugoslavia right around our border. So also now we are not that far away at the moment in this interview. Let's jump right to the topic. What does freedom mean for both of you? What is the definition of freedom for you?
Well, for me, it's being able to do what you would like to do, um, what really inspires you to do, what's on purpose for you, being able to be on purpose, and being able to do that when you want to do it, not when you have to do it, when you want to do it, and being able to do it wherever you want to do it from.
Yeah,
Uh, that's kind of the special mix of the what, the where, and how. So if you're able to do all of those things, then you have really a lot of freedom. And besides that kind of external freedom, having the freedom internally as well, and not to have to be loyal to some point of view, or having to believe certain things that you've been told to believe, that you have freedom of exploration internally as well, and you have freedom of experimentation and exploration that continues to evolve based on your own experience and based on what's most important to you. So those two types of freedom for me are very important.
that's wonderful, Ivan. Thank you very much. Mariana, your definition of freedom, what does it mean for you?
Absolutely, absolutely agree with Ivan. We're very much aligned on, and he explains things way better than I can. So absolutely agree with what he said, both internal and external in same way.
Wonderful. Yeah. So let's talk about this external, internal a little bit. Was this something what was obvious and clear from you throughout your entrepreneurial journey, or was this something where at some point you figured out, oh, I need to differentiate this. There is this external freedom and this internal freedom. What actually is going on between my ears?
Well, throughout the journey, external freedom was more front and center. You, as a human, we don't go internal a lot. Usually, we have problems to handle on the outside, and we go to handle them. We have constraints on the outside, the circumstances of the environment or whatever it is. So it takes our focus there a lot. So we go and solve these problems. So um, when you run a business, you have a lot of constraints that are external. So when you run a aerospace business where you make parts and cut metal to less than a hair's tolerance, and if something goes wrong, a plane could crash. That's a lot of constraint that you have to deal with, a lot of stress that you have to deal with. You know, we've made millions of these components that are flying through the sky right now, carrying people through it safely. So we ran a very, very difficult, demanding business that had a lot of stress and demands in it. So when you're doing that kind of work, a lot of external focus, and you're trying to get free from all those problems, and it's a lot. It's a lot to do and a lot to think about. But as we were able to scale the business and eventually exit to private equity, and after many trials and tribulations, we were finally able to create the external freedom. We were finally free completely from all those constraints. Uh, at that point, we discovered that there's another frontier, which is the internal freedom, because in our book, we cover this story. When we've built a self-sustaining organization and a self-sustaining team that was able to run our aerospace business very well. I went from an 80-hour work week down to 2-hour work week. And this is a very, very important thing, that the final graduation moment, I think, of entrepreneurship. I was in my kitchen in the morning. It was like 11 a.m. and I was drinking water and looking out the window. We had these nice trees back there. It was green, and I was just relaxing. And out of nowhere, a thought comes on in my mind, and a question pops out. Like, a question comes in my mind, and it's just jolts me right out of that moment. And the voice in my mind says, "What kind of man stays home on a Wednesday?" And so I was like, "What is that? Who is asking this question? What is going on? Like, this is not." And then I felt all this tension in my body, on the inside of me. I felt all this tension. I felt all this judgment, all these expectations, all these things. I felt like my ancestors, my male ancestors, were calling me out. What kind of man am I to be in my kitchen and not being at work on a Wednesday? And so I was thinking, wow, that's a lot of energy coursing through me, a lot of tension in me. And I was just sitting there and waiting it out, and listening and noticing what is going on. And then I started to feel something deeper than the voice, a kind of a calm, a quiet, a peaceful part of me. And I started to hear a different answer to the question of what kind of man stays home on a Wednesday. And that answer was, the kind of man that stays home on a Wednesday is the kind of man that built a business that can continue to grow and thrive even when he's not there. And the tension of the inner voices didn't conclude there. It's a continual journey, and the being able to navigate the internal freedom part is very important as well. But we didn't get to that until we created the external freedom, and that's how it goes. But even there is the subtler and subtler levels of freedom that you can get to as you continue to go through life.
Yeah. That's incredible. So thank you very much for sharing. I really appreciate this deep look you just gave us, Ivan. I personally, I mean, I'm in business since 25 years now, but I personally really have a harder time to get my internal freedom in order than getting the external freedom in order, because the external one, at least for me, and I'm looking forward to hear from you how you experience this in your business. The external one for me is more okay. There are systems. I can put processes in place. I can put leaders in place. I can develop people in my organization. I can use technology to organize something. So actually, the business architecture. And when you understand, and I think this is also a very big part what you did in your journey. When you build the right business architecture, that's fundamental to have the opportunity to step back or step out of a business. Otherwise, you will never be free and you'll always be a slave to your own business. But okay, at least for me personally, these are steps I can do. These are just strategic things or processes I can put in place. This internal voice that constantly is telling me, oh my God, when you are not in the office, when you are not in front of a desk, if you are not in wherever in an office setting, you are not doing anything. That's not how it should be. That's not how business or a job should be, and all that. I got so much bullshit into my head when I grew up, and from my surroundings, from my family, from school, from education, from society, from my surroundings. It's still today, after 25 years, for me personally, harder to have this internal freedom and make sure these crazy voices are not messing with me, compared to, okay, let's improve the business architecture. Let's improve a process here. So what is your experience? How is your experience here?
Well, yeah, it's very true. Part of the reason why these voices are compelling is because they are mainly true. So, uh, for thousands and thousands of years, our ancestors had to move. Movement is life. Many times, the intrinsic value, the worthiness of being a human, the worthiness of who you are and what you do came from what you did for the community, what you actually, you were in your workshop making shoes, you were making this, you were making that, you were known for, even your last name, would have been the worksmith, the smiths, the identity was very much tied to the profession, and that's how all of our ancestors survived. That's how all of that happened. It's hardwired into our nervous system. There's no avoidance of that. Somehow we're now living at an age where a lot more things are possible than ever were. The surplus of time that we have now never was possible before. And so the amount of survival work that we need to do these days is a lot lower than ever in history of humankind. And so we are really breaking new ground for the species, I think. So whenever what we're doing is we're going outside of the comfort zone of the human species.
Oh yeah, we do on a daily basis.
And so that's a thing to respect.
Mhm.
That's a thing to keep ourselves in check with, and to not go completely hedonistic here, to continue to live with purpose and continue to add value.
Mhm.
But the how can evolve a tremendous amount.
That's wonderful. That's a very, very interesting perspective, and a very good one in my personal opinion. So thank you very much for sharing. That's incredible. Um,
Mariana had
Well,
something to add here.
Please.
there is also, if you remember when Nelson Mandela was put in prison, one of the things that really helped him stay on track and stay with the mission and stay true to himself is knowing that no matter how and for how long and under which conditions he is imprisoned, he was free in his mind. So that's one good reminder to practice. How can we be free in our minds so that any external circumstances are not affecting us one way or the other? And being free in your mind to think what you want, to enjoy what you want, to focus on what you want, regardless of the external circumstances. I think it's one of the greatest gifts that we can give ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So how can we do that, Mariana? Because
How can
now how can we do that?
Right.
I
Yeah.
totally
Yeah.
agree. How?
Yeah. Well, back to what Ivan said about the ancestral thing, realizing, okay, now with all these resources that I have that, now don't have to rule my mind, how can I free it? And I know you like to bike. I think that's one of the greatest things, and when you bike all the way up there, I bet you are free in your mind. That
Oh my
voice
God,
never
yes.
comes.
And if I'm
Yeah.
not, I just need to push a little bit harder uphill, and then it's done.
There you go. So creating more and more of those experiences. Remember to come back to yourself all the time, that all those voices ruled by previous conditions are not valid anymore. And then creating experiences that give you that possibility of not having to overthink and have a freedom in your mind.
That's wonderful. Thank you so
There's
much.
a lot of things where I think it's part of the human condition when we want to evolve and we want to transition from somewhere to somewhere else. We tend to build up this moving away from energy.
Mhm.
I just don't want that anymore. I'm gonna move away from this thing. I don't. This is we build this thing in our minds so that we can leave something or end something and start something new. But I think that is not the best way to go through those transitions that are needed, especially around freedom, because if we pronounce everything that has preceded this moment right now wrong in some way, we are pronouncing life wrong. We're pronouncing existence wrong. We're pronouncing our background wrong, our ancestry, our everything. And with that kind of almost disowning all that part, we cut off from the flow of energy and the flow of life, from the strength that where we've come from our roots, from where we gain our sustenance, if you would, where all of those things, through our veins flows the blood of our ancestors. All of their experiences are written in our DNA. All of those are tremendous resources that we can draw upon in a difficult time. Everything they've been through, we can utilize for our benefit as we're breaking new ground. So making it all wrong isn't the best way. Integrating the voice of what kind of man stays home on a Wednesday
Yeah.
and taking the goodness in it and then breaking new ground and going further and then building something even more valuable than previously possible,
Yeah.
utilizing that and building upon it.
That's amazing. Yeah. I actually had a lot of situations like that where I was literally with the mountain bike somewhere in nature on top of a hill overlooking, for example, a beautiful coastline here on Monday morning, and I was standing there in 1 second enjoying this beautiful view, and in the other second having some kind of voices. What the fuck are you doing here? What the hell is wrong with you? It's Monday morning. Hey, what's going on here? Yeah. So it's so interesting how our upbringing, how our ancestors, how actually history from mankind is affecting us in a daily base on a daily basis, and most people are not even aware where this is coming from. So that's a very, very cool thing. So really, thank you for sharing.
We have a first aid for these situations. First aid help. Okay, so when you get a cut on your arms, you go to first aid and you get help. Well, when you get thoughts and your voices in your head, we have first aid help. And
calling you.
Yes, call us for sure. We can help. But when you don't want to call us, there's first aid for yourself that you can administer. And a very simple question that is very, at first glance, overly simple. The question is to ask of yourself, is this mine? So is this mine is a very simple question, but it presupposes awareness and it presupposes presence. Because the fact that you asked yourself, is this mine, proves that you're present. So you were not hijacked by the voice. You were still there. You were able to hear it. You were aware of it. And you were able to ask yourself, is this mine? And Mariana and I ask each other, is this yours, a lot? Because we are living in this soup all the time. This is, we are affected by the societal voices. We're affected by ancestral voices. We're affected by systemic voices. All these systems have their own momentum and their own path, and we are in the middle of them all the time. So it's a very, very useful first aid question. Is this mine? Because most of the time when we ask ourselves, when we're hijacked by the different voices and energies, we get an answer of no, and this is not even mine. And it's present here for me to inform me in some way, but I don't need to get attached to it. I don't have to identify with this voice. I don't have to name it mine. This is not me. This is not mine. This is not I. And as such, not all of them have to be addressed in that exact moment. Usually these voices come on at a wrong time.
Oh, yeah.
So a lot of times
usually I would say always.
A lot of times we can park these voices and then talk to them later, or address them, or think about them, or whatever it is. So when we get the answer no, we have a kind of little more elbow room, little more space to be intentional and decide, what is this moment about, and what do I want to create out of this moment that isn't hijacked by other influences.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good. So one last question before we are wrapping this up, because I could go on and on and on and on, but I know your time is super valuable, like mine. And that's the cool thing. When we value freedom, at some point we also need to learn that time is one of the most important, or probably the most important thing. What really stands out for me when I talk to both of you is you did not had this massive transition from a very, very intense business to a freedom business to where you are now, but you also did it as a power couple. And you basically compared probably the hardest piece in running a successful business and running a successful relationship. So how do you stay aligned as a couple, and how do you stay this type of power couple through all these crazy things that we need to handle as an entrepreneur and working together?
Yeah,
Well,
maybe
I always
Mariana
say,
can share a story.
Okay,
Maybe
go
you
ahead.
can share a story, Mariana, of the moment in the office.
Well, I was gonna say, I think I like to say always that we still like each other, like, which
That's a
is
good
important. I
starting
mean,
point.
yeah, like you love each other, but you also like each other. I think that's important, and knowing each other as well. Knowing, the similarities, knowing the differences, knowing how people react in certain situations. I think it's, what is expected in one moment might not happen in the next, and that's why it was really helpful for us to know what kind of personality types we are. And we did a lot of different assessments, so that when the other person reacts in a certain way, that's not anything personal that is towards you. It's basically just how their brain is wired, and in that moment you have a choice. whether you're going to be like, okay, we might not agree on this, and it's because this is important to him right now. Ivan is a big idea person, and he likes to run fast, and and like he's in the future and everything, and I'm more, feet to the ground. So, and when he starts saying things, I'm like, okay, well, how is this going to happen? And if I'm asking how, that could perceive as, strangling what he's trying to understand and do. So I think that knowing each other and liking each other, I feel like that's the most important thing.
That's wonderful. Thank you. Yeah. Ivan, you mentioned whatever situation in the office and you wanted to
There
share a
was there
story,
was
or
a
you
moment.
wanted to Mariana to share a story.
Well, Mariana didn't want to, so but I can share a
I
brief
felt this
one.
was more important. There you go.
I can share a quick one. Mariana got a phone call from one of the kids' schools about some behavior issue that happened, and she was uh, she was really wound up about it, and she was angry about it, and so she, after the phone call with the school, she marches into my office with a lot of energy, and she just starts unloading the situation on me, and I was in the middle of something, and I just said, I called a timeout on the thing, and then I asked her a question. Who is talking to me right now? Is it my chief culture officer? Is it my partner in business? Is it my partner in life? Is it my wife? Is it my mother of my children? Who is talking right now? And so that pause there, it was like an interruption to the
Not
to
an
the moment,
interrupt. Yeah.
because she came in like a storm.
Loaded.
And then yes, and she paused and she was like, "Wow, okay, who is talking right now?" And that created again a little bit of space where we can be intentional in the moment. And maybe Mariana, you can share how was it for you?
Well, it was the way he said it. It's an important, as they say, I know it's a cliche. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. And that is actually very true. It's the way that in which he said it that stopped me in my tracks and had me consider who was talking and not necessarily be defensive. Had he said it in a different way, from the upset or from judgment or something like that, then we would have, not, it wouldn't have had the same outcome. But he said it in a very authentic, curious, loving and caring way, even though he was interrupted. And, as a woman, you should never interrupt a man when he's doing something important, no matter how much energy you got. So he was able to be collected himself and to address me in a way that immediately clicked. And then that, it didn't take me aback. It just, grounded me in the moment so that I can understand where I was coming from, and to apologize and to tell him we can totally discuss this later. And it helped me calm down as well. So those are little instances where what life happens, and how it matters to which place are you coming from, and how do you know how to address certain situations.
This
That's
is
wonderful.
really connected to what we talked about previously,
Yeah.
because uh, when we when we go into a role of some kind, we have many different roles. We're advisors, we're husbands, we're sons, all these roles have expectations with them. They all have an identity attached to them. They all have their own voices, if you would. What you would say as a CEO is very different than you would say as a husband, hopefully.
Yes.
Actually, I made a Facebook post once. I said, it's too bad my husband is also my CEO, so I cannot complain to my husband about him.
I mean, you can, you just need to set the stage for that. I mean,
I know, but you never know how it's gonna end.
that's right. That's right. That's right. That's amazing. That's amazing. Ivan and Mariana, thank you so much for sharing that, and also giving us these very, very deep insights in your life and in your entrepreneurial journey. I could go on and on and on, but I literally want to stop here. So I'm sure people also want to know more about you. So what is the best way on how to connect with you? How can they talk to you, reach out to you? What's the best way to get a hold of you?
Well, they can check out our website. It's shiftintelligence.co. There is a lot of information there and some case studies and things like that. Our emails are Ivan at shiftintelligence.co and Mariana with one N at shiftintelligence.co. And, Ivan, can you tell us, a little bit about the book that we just, published? It's our second book and we're very proud of it.
Wonderful.
Yes, Shift Intelligence, you can find it on Amazon. It's a very deep look on our journey and what has happened to us. And over the last 20 years, we've had a lot of lessons, a lot of mistakes. Maybe you can learn from some of our mistakes and not have them yourself. A lot of every chapter opens with a story and dives into the deep, uh, similar to the few stories we shared today. Every story is very interesting and dynamic, and it carries a lesson. All of the entire book is carried by those lessons from those stories, and so we warmly recommend you check out the book. It's all about how a founder or owner could what happens when your standard it finally holds within the business, and you are not the only carrier of the standard that is keeping you there all the time. When your team and your business and your whole infrastructure can carry the standard for you, that's the real opening for a lot of opportunities and potential and possibilities. So that's what the book covers. And we're very active on LinkedIn as well. So if you look us up on LinkedIn, you'll find us. We're almost daily on there sharing from our journey and what is happening, what's happening with our clients. And so thank you so much, Stefan, for having us. It was a lot of fun and we enjoyed it very much.
Thank you very
Yes.
much. Thank you. And we're definitely going to post your contact information and a link that people can reach out to you. By the way, I love your book. I'm not completely through it yet, but the part what I already read is really, really amazing. So really an amazing book. And so just grab it. Just go to Amazon and buy their book or go to their website. And with that, I mean, thank you again for sharing. Thank you for taking the time. And all of you listeners out there, I wish you a lot of success and a great time in implementing freedom entrepreneurship. Thank you for today and see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.